For today's episode of Behind the Business License, we are in Lawndale. Lawndale has a rich history of ethnic migration ranging from immigrants from the Czech Republic to members of the Jewish population from Russia and Eastern Europe. In the 1950s, Blacks migrated into the area from the south side and from the southern states. Today, the community's robust network of nonprofits is working in collaboration to advance many of the priorities established by residents and longtime neighborhood institutions. On this episode, we are joined by James Buick, owner of the Roscoe Company Uniform Services, and Bernard Jennings, Executive Director, Lawndale Business Renaissance Association.
I'm third generation with the company. My grandfather, George C. Buick, started the company with a partner in 1921. The company's name came from the original location, which is Roscoe and Southport. My dad and his brothers and brother-in-law continued the business and purchased the business from my grandfather. My dad purchased it in the 70s, and I purchased the company in 2000. And now we have a fourth generation, my daughter Julia, who's been with the company for 8 years. I've been with the company for 45 years at this point. The legacy of the business is what inspired me to continue. My grandfather came over as an immigrant with nothing and started this business. He was a union machinist, and he knew the value of the products that we offered. In fact, this industry is one of the first industries, its roots in sustainability. In the early days, things were scarce, and customers, instead of throwing rags away that they used in their machine shops, my grandfather saw an opportunity for those rags to be laundered and sent back and reused. So that provided the incentive then to go into uniforms, to go into floor mats, and other products. We've earned the Governor's Sustainability Award twice. We've also earned several sustainability awards from our industry trade association. This 100-year-old building, when it was re-engineered in 2008, is one of the most sustainable plants, one of the most energy efficient plants in the nation because of the modern technology that we installed, and it continues to be so. So our company does compete with some very large companies, and we're a single plant operator on the Westside. But we've got two unions that we worked hand in glove with. We've got a great relationship with them. Our team members, we value what they bring to the table. It's funny, I had a representative from Cintas here looking at a sorting system, a German sorting system that we installed, and I said, take pictures, do whatever you want. And I kept getting calls from people saying, is this okay? Is this okay that a competitor is in here seeing what we're doing? And I said, well, as long as they don't steal the soul of the people that are working here, I'm fine with him taking pictures of equipment, because what they can't replace, what they can't provide, is the pride and the heart that our team members bring to the equation. I think the root of our tenure is the fact that we really put a lot of energy into training. We put a lot of energy into promoting from within. And people know that when they start at Roscoe, even though we're a small operator with 70 plus employees, that they have a future here. The woman that we hired 30 years ago to hang shirts on the line, she runs this plant. And she does a wonderful job doing so. And I think it's that compassion. This is hard work, but we acknowledge people for that hard work. My dad put in a 20-year club in the 50s when recognition maybe wasn't as common. And this 20-year club has active and retired team members that come back every year, join together, celebrate the company, celebrate our team members, and I can't say enough about the great job that the rank and file here do. So when I was first approached about the small business increment financing program with Summer Corps, I was a skeptic. And I had dealt with the city of Chicago on various programs in the past, but I will tell you, I am a huge advocate of the SPIF program. Every year in my property tax bill, I pay a small amount into a TIF district. And every 3 years, I'm eligible to apply for a capital improvement that's going to make this building better than it was. That's going to take care of the roof, that's going to put new windows in. Right now, we're putting a new elevator in. Our elevator stopped working, and we would not have been able to put this elevator in and make this building handicap accessible if we weren't able to use the SPIF program. When we modernized this facility, and I had a problem with a valve out in the alley, because of a contact that I had made through LBRA, I was able to get the commissioner of water on the phone, and they took care of things. So the city of Chicago can do a great job, and they support small businesses like ours. The way Roscoe has maintained our competitive advantage is an extreme level of service. We use certifications as a foundation to continually improve. Every year we do a marketing research study with our customers to ask them what we're doing right and what we're not doing right. And then we tear into what we're not doing right. We accentuate what we're doing right. And that level of always looking for continuous improvement is really, in our foundations. My grandfather did it, my dad did it, I'm doing it, and now my daughter Julia, who's been with us for 8 years, will continue that tradition. So it's systems, it's great equipment, but more importantly, it's the people that I work with here, our team members. So my father and grandfather definitely showed me that working with benchmarking groups, reaching out to those in the industry and those outside of the industry and learning from them is very important. He also showed me that you can't do it on your own. And there are a lot of great resources at a city, county, state, and federal level that you can lean on, especially a small business like Roscoe. So an organization like LBRA definitely makes a difference in helping us connect to those programs. We're about to introduce a lean training and Kaizen training program to our team members, and that just is going to give us another leg up to up our game, continually up our game. And so it's a lot of education. It's rewarding and recognizing the people that are getting you there, and it's just continuing to make sure you've got your finger on the pulse of what customers want. My father, back in the 60s, worked with a community organizer named Danny Davis. And now Congressman Danny Davis and my dad put together a Leary group, a network group that supported businesses to help retain businesses and attract other businesses. Well, about 10 years ago, that organization had kind of sunset. And I and 3 other businesses in this area created the Lawndale Business Renaissance Association, and we hired Bernard Jennings to run that organization. So the sense of community is the number one purpose that we get there. We meet on a regular basis. Bernard and the board, which I'm on, put forward different activities, and LBRA has been a great extension of the city of Chicago. Using these boots on the ground organizations like LBRA is a fantastic approach. Sure, we walk through the alderman's office, but LBRA is another resource besides the alderman, besides the city, and sometimes Bernard knows just the right person to call to make something happen. It's pretty amazing. One of the things we're proud of is we have a great blend of team members from a number of backgrounds, a number of areas, including North Lawndale. And we specifically look for people that are nearby Roscoe, because when there's a blizzard, and there are blizzards in Chicago, we want that person to be able to get to work and get it done. But more importantly, my dad told me about the 60s when the fires were erupting on Madison Street. He was on the roof of this building watching Chicago burn during that tragic time. And that didn't happen to Roscoe. We weren't affected because the people that worked at Roscoe were neighbors and friends and colleagues. And so that goes to this day. When we had some tragic events a few years ago and there was unrest in the city, there were some issues in this area, but not at Roscoe, because the team members, the neighbors, I look out for them and they look out for me. And it's a hand-in-glove relationship. And so I'm very committed to North Lawndale. I'm very committed to the people that work at Roscoe, and I'm very committed to my neighbors and treating everybody fairly and them treating us fairly. So we really appreciate being in this area.
As a neighborhood business development center, we provide assistance in business licensing, permits, business plans, contracts, training, and resources. But because of our experience as a Leary, we additionally provide the local businesses with information about, for instance, the SPIF, Small Business Improvement Fund, ComEd incentives. We assist with site location. We assist with services from the Alderman's office. We provide them information about city, county, state, and federal programs. So we go beyond just the normal contractual agreement as a neighborhood development center. So just this year, we assisted the Roscoe company with a $250,000 grant from the SPIF, Small Business Improvement Fund, that assisted with $750,000 project of building improvements here at Roscoe, making the building more ADA compliant. We also assisted with $40,000 in ComEd incentives to improve the lighting. We let them know about IMAC, and they were able to give them $35,000 to get lean training for the staff here. So in essence, we assisted in getting, I believe it's about $325,000 in grant money to match up against some of the programs for Roscoe just this year alone. We have been here for 10 years, so we have a relationship with a lot of the companies, and we try to work and facilitate them. We try to help them grow. I personally have worked in the area for 22 years, so I'm very knowledgeable with what has happened, what some of the needs are. I've seen the community turn around. We've assisted with keeping businesses here to ensure that there's opportunities for employment. Perfect example with the Roscoe company, they've been here for over 100 years, and they have actually had multiple generations of families work here. So we are bringing the businesses back to the community, bringing additional businesses. We help create stabilization, which makes the community safer, which hopefully if we can bring businesses here, create jobs, with jobs they will impact housing. Once housing is here, what you will see is retail and commercial come to facilitate it. So we kind of approach it from a holistic perspective, and we are kind of at the beginning of that cycle by creating and growing jobs and maintaining jobs and bringing companies here. Lawndale Business Renaissance Association, as a neighborhood development center, we have noticed that one of the primary things, it depends on where the business is in the growth cycle. If it's a brand new startup, one of the first things that we do is we try to help them with site location. Where they're a lot of times often transitioning from the house or some other small location to trying to actually have a brick and mortar. So that would be kind of one of the things. The second most common thing is that the business is trying to find funding and programs. So we therefore provide them with information that we know about any program that might assist them in taking that next step. Oftentimes it comes back to the SPIF, the Small Business Improvement Fund, and currently we're also putting out information about the Community Development Grant to help assist with growing the business. But what we've come to find, instead of us saying, well, this is what we've got, this is what we actually do something that a lot of people don't do. We talk to the people and to the company, and we listen. Once we find out what they need, that's when we step in to assist. It makes absolutely no sense for us to give them too much information and they're not prepared to do it. That creates frustration in the growth cycle. So one thing I'm very proud to say is that we actually listen. We're here to try to tell and assist in letting a business know what they don't know about doing business in the city of Chicago. So we try to create filling that deficiency and deficit, because for the most part, businesses know how to do the business that they want to do. The issue is, how does that fit in the larger structure of doing business in the city of Chicago, which has its own uniqueness when you start looking at regulations and licensing, availability of program, availability of training programs, training dollars. There's just a multitude of things out there that they're not aware of. And I think it's our job as a neighborhood business development center to fill that void and try to help them become successful. Being in business is challenging enough, and we're here to assist them in filling the void of what they don't know. So I think that that is what the need is, and that is what neighborhood business development centers should be doing.
Thank you so much to James Buick of the Roscoe Company Uniform Services and Bernard Jennings of the Lawndale Business Renaissance Association for sharing your stories on Behind the Business License. As always, you can get more information by visiting our website at chicago.gov/BACP and watching this episode on youtube.com/ChicagoBACP. Our guests will always have valuable information to share, so please join us next time on Behind the Business License.